Good evening, welcome to Prime TV News. I am Yahani Birasinghe bringing you your headlines first. The President invites the nation to return the liberated country to ancient fertility. Emergency extension is approved with a majority of 69 votes. The Prime Minister reveals of conspiracies against the country to the House. A new high is recorded in the growth of insurance sector. And in foreign news, more than half of India's retail price of petrol is made up of taxes. And now the news in detail. Local stories first. President Rajapaksa has pointed out that the desire of the government was to take the country towards prosperity as witnessed in the past. He called on the people to array themselves to steer the country towards an indigenous economy.
The president opined that the United States had retrenched hundreds of thousands of employees. Banks had collapsed in the United Kingdom and the United States. He observed that such a situation did not surface in Sri Lanka. The government is still paying debts for the bread imported during the 1960s. But the president underscored that he was not importing food on loans. If the farming community was granted adequate irrigation facilities, they are capable of producing the required food. The president queried as to why Sri Lanka should strengthen farmers in other countries. The president was addressing a meeting of Sri Lanka Freedom Party central organizations of the Tissa Maharama electorate. A large gathering, including the people of the area, was present. The meeting was held at Tissa Maharama. In his address, the president underscored that he would dedicate himself with a strong group to build the country with a strong parliament. Freedom Alliance Hambantota district candidates Minister Chamal Rajapaksa, V.K. Indika, Siripala Jayavira, D.M. Dharmadasa and Vijitha Punchiheva were present.
The extension of emergency has been approved with a majority of 69 votes. The 93 members voted in favour for the resolution, while 24 opposed. All legislators allied to the government party voted in favour of the emergency. Moving the resolution in Parliament for the extension of the emergency by a further month, Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramasinhe stated, forces are still active to destroy the country's unitary status. The government accepts that the country needed to work in close proximity with the world. But Sri Lanka is not a subjugated country, nor that of a colony of a powerful state. However, some consider it in this manner and works accordingly. The Prime Minister said he is prepared to remind that as citizens of the country, it is not the obligation to support such a situation. The government was adhering to some activity for the security of the country and the people. As a responsible group, he emphasized that they could not agree to any threat to peace and security. However, he said there are groups which are publishing reports to meet the ends of certain anti-state forces. He reminded the House that immediate action was needed to halt such activities. A record growth is registered in Sri Lanka's insurance sector. This was revealed at a media briefing organized at the Sri Lanka Insurance Board. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Insurance Board, Udayashree Karyawasam, said 42 branches of the insurance companies have been established with the liberation of the North and East from terrorism. 9 insurance companies have set up these branches. The insurance business is flourishing as a result of the business being taken to the civilians of these 2 provinces. The people leading normal lives following the peaceful environment that is prevailing in these 2 regions. As a result, insurance companies had been able to go to these areas and establish their branches. This, Mr. Karyawasam said clearly, indicates that the people are now reaping the dividends of peace. Still on local news, the CID informed the Colombo Fort Magistrate today that it had obtained the internet protocol addresses used by Dhanuna Tilakaratne and were trying to trace his whereabouts through this information. Submitting a report in court, the CID informed the magistrate that the internet protocol address which was used by Dhanuna belonged to the United States-based internet service provider. The CID further informed the court to issue an order to the Director General of Telecommunication and Regulatory Commission to obtain details from the local internet service providers about the subscriber through whose account Dhanuna had accessed the internet. Having considered the submissions, Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne ordered the TRC Director General to submit the necessary details. Hambantota District Freedom Alliance candidate Namal Rajapaksa is touring Jaffna. The desire is to provide a strength to SLFP candidates who are contesting the elections. Mr. Rajapaksa was accorded a very warm welcome in Jaffna with religious blessings. He first visited the Nagadeepa Vihara and secured blessings of the Mahasangha. Thereafter, he participated in religious observances at the Nagabhushani Amman Kovil. Later, he met the civilians of Jaffna and had a cordial discussion on the problems they confront. UNP Western Province Councillor Paul Pereira and several UNP stalwarts of Gampaha have joined the Freedom Alliance.
They met Basil Rajapaksa, the United People's Freedoms Alliance Gampaha District Group leader, and pledged their support. The group included former UNP Mayor of Negombo and the present Municipal Councillor Sunil Silva, former Municipal Councillor Somu Manoharan, a former member of the UNP Balamandalaya, Prem Fernando, Secretary of the Buddhist Affairs Activities of the UNP in Negombo, Sumit Jayampati, and a strong UNP supporter, Sudat Jayampati. They ditched the UNP and pledged support to the Freedom Alliance. Deputy Minister Sarath Kumara Gunaratne and Director General of the Media Centre for National Security Lakshman Hulugalle were present on this occasion.
Bringing you more local news, Eastern Chief Minister Shivanesthare Chandrakanthan has taken oaths as the Minister of Health, Indigenous Medicine, Women's Affairs and Sports. He fills the vacancy created by the resignation of Minister MLAM Hizbullah. He resigned to contest the general elections. Mr. Chandrakanthan took oaths before Governor Mohan Wijayavikrama. Sri Lanka plans to invite overseas and local companies this month to set up operations in a new $550 million tax-free port zone as the end of the war boosts trade and investment.
Companies from Australia, India, China, Russia and Dubai have expressed interest in opening shipbuilding, ship repair and warehouse facilities at the port in Hambantota. Ports Authority Chairman Priyatha Vikrama said the zone is partially funded by a $370 million Chinese loan. He said it should be completed by November. Sri Lanka will also push ahead with a fourth container terminal at the island's main port in Colombo to take advantage of the island's proximity to India and to major shipping routes between Asia and Europe. The government is set to spend $1 billion on ports, roads and power plants this year after the liberation of the country from terrorism. Sri Lanka is situated on the route between Malacca Straits and the Suez Canal, which links Asia and Europe. The canal was used by an average of 47 ships a day last year. The island is also 31 kilometers southeast of India, the world's second fastest growing major economy. Sri Lanka is already planning a $600 million second phase for the Hambantota port, which will include a container terminal. Mr. Vikrama said the government is seeking another Chinese loan. Other industries that may use the 1,700 hectare first phase include cement, fertilizers and food processing. The Ports Authority Chairman observed that construction of the 2.5 million containers a year facility, which will expand Colombo's cargo capacity by 50%, is slated to begin in June and finish by the first quarter of 2012. He added that the island will call for bids for a fifth terminal once Colombo reaches 5 million containers a year.
And with that, we now give you today's foreign exchange rates.